Well, listeners, we're going to continue our look now at the Melbourne Fringe Festival by taking a look at one of the shows that I feel is going to be one of the must-see shows of this year's festival. It's called The Passion of Pauline. And to tell us a little bit more about it today, we've actually got Sinjin McKay, I've got it, on the phone to chat a little bit about this amazing show. Welcome to the program, mate.
Oh, thank you, and thanks for that, must-see line. I'm a bit, my heart's fluttering a bit for that one. Thank you.
Well, mate, I've been reading through the press release about your show, and I've got to say I am so excited about being able to see this show. Tell us a little bit about how this show has come together for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a real slog, to be honest. I've been working on, because it's a true story about a real life human being, and I've been working on a way to put it into some sort of form for 4 years now. Usually when I've been doing solo theatre work for going on 8 years or something now, and usually what I do is I write a script over a year, and then I put on the show a few times wherever, in whatever situation, and then I just move on to the next thing. So this has been really weird to, be, working on this one thing for so long. But I've been really, it's a really close to home, passionate thing. This woman was a prison reform activist in England in the 2000s, and, pretty obscure, not, in England, people probably wouldn't know her either, but just her story is just so... I mean, if you talk about, the cliche of a hero or someone who really sacrificed everything for what they believed in, I mean, this is a person, and her story is, it's really tragic, and it's really full on, but it's really, inspiring as well.
Yeah.
So I've just been committed, I was going to make it into a film, and I was going to make it into a sort of a live, out in public performance-y thing, and then I've come around to making it into this solo show. But it's gone through a million different iterations.
Yeah. So I have to ask, how did you find out about the life of Pauline Campbell?
Well, so prison. I've got a few things that seem to sort of come up in all my work, and prison is one major thing, and to be honest, I mean it's kind of personal. Someone very close to my family, I won't say who, went to prison for 6 months when I was a baby, and that was decades ago, and they've never talked about that experience.
Yeah.
They refused to talk about it. And so it's close to home, and then I did a show about prison for the Reykjavik Fringe Festival a few years ago, when was it 20 or 21? And through researching that show, that's how I came across Pauline Campbell.
Okay.
Just by researching about prison and stories of people, and that's how I came across her, and I was just instantly hooked on her.
Yeah. So you mentioned before that you had a few ideas of bringing her story to public, including an idea for a film, but you've ended up settling on the idea that we're going to see here at Melbourne Fringe. Tell us a little bit about it, because the way it's described in the press release is a real criminal trial performed as a TV game show. Tell us a little bit about how that works and how you came up with that idea.
Well, yeah, I mean, that idea, so the one thing, my shows are always about real dark bummer stuff.
Yep.
I wish I was into just, whatever, shows about the beach or something, but for whatever reason, I'm really attracted to the darker side of exploring the darker side of human nature. So what I have to do at the same time, when I do this, is I can't just make it just a total drag for everyone. So I have to come up with a way to lighten things up. I mean, that's just naturally how I am anyway. Sort of, a bit dark, but presenting it in a, with a smile. The idea, I can't remember where it came to me. It came to me way early in the process, was the idea that, a criminal trial is kind of like a game show. It's like, one side's like against the other, like two contestants, the prosecution and the defense are fighting it out, and, one's a winner and one's a loser, and they get the prize. So, they get the prize of getting to walk free, or getting put in, the other team getting put in jail. And so I thought, okay, so if I can use that, and then that also sort of makes it, because another thing I also really want, if possible, in every show I do, is it can go differently every time, like, a bit of improvisation. So in that sense, that I've made the crowd, like, they're the ones who decide winning or losing.
Yeah.
So, and also there's a bit of, like, interaction with the crowd, like a game show, like the crowd in a game show or a talk show, which adds to the, which way it's going,
Yeah.
So it gives it a bit of a, because it's for me, it's much more exciting. I'd go insane if I was just up there saying the same thing the same way every night.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so there's that element, and then there's the talking chimpanzees.
Okay.
Which yeah. So basically, the judge and the prosecution lawyer and all the witnesses are talking chimpanzees on screen. So it's like a real trial, just with me as the defendant, Pauline, the crowd as the jury, and then the judge and lawyer and witnesses are on screen that I interact with.
Yep.
And I mean, it's a bit of a long story why you find out in the show why they're chimpanzees dressed up as lawyers and judges with the wigs and stuff. Basically, I'm really surprised because no one knows about it in Australia, because we had it in New Zealand when I was growing up. There's these British ads for a tea company called PG Tips, and for like 4 decades they had these ads where they'd have chimpanzees dressed as humans and doing like, human situations.
Yeah.
And they were just a British staple, like, and like, famous people like Peter Sellers and all these comedians would do the voices and stuff. I mean, they were really, an institution.
Yeah.
But you didn't get them in Australia, it sounds like, because no one's heard of them.
No,
but there's this one ad they do in a court with it, and so I use that. So basically, I've used the images from that, and I've got actors to do voices, and I've written a script, and then I just sort of I spend hours and 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 hours chopping up the images of them talking to match what I've got them saying for my script.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird, but as I say, it's I will say the point, the connection is that, in the 90s, finally those ads were abolished because, there was a campaign against them for like a couple of decades because it was cruel. These chimpanzees were being stolen from Africa and, raised as humans and then abandoned. It was, it was really cruel.
Yeah.
So my show is sort of an underlying theme of it is the concept of prison abolition, the actual abolition of prison itself. So that's how the sort of the chimpanzee ads connects with it.
Okay.
It's all a bit complicated, but
Yeah. Like you said, the show can go in all different directions as well, so it's different every night. What kind of challenges does that provide for you as a performer?
To be honest with you, it provides me with sanity.
Yep.
Because I love interacting with the crowd, and feeding off them, and being surprised. And so, for me, it's not a challenge. It's more of a let off.
Yeah.
Because I mean, most of the show is me, of course, scripted, interacting with the characters on screen. But for me, I've always enjoyed improv.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Now, for all of our listeners out there, The Passion of Pauline is on from October the 2nd to the 5th at the Motley Bauhaus, and then it moves from October the 17th to the 20th to the Mission to Seafarers as well. We'll have all of those ticket details up on our website, so you'll be able to grab those ticket details and times and everything as well. But St. John, tell us, to finish off, what would you like to say to people out there who are thinking about heading along to check out this show?
Well, one other thing I want to say is that one of my taglines is that I don't just want to put on I don't want to tell Pauline's story. I want to further her mission. I actually believe in her mission.
Yep.
And I'd love people to come in, see the show, and leave maybe thinking a bit differently. I always hope that these things I do actually stay with people, and that's a little shift in consciousness about something like prison can, that's how things can start rolling. And also on that note, all the proceeds, it's also like a fundraiser for criminal justice orgs. So I'm sort of teamed up with I'm just going to say their names, just give them a shout. Sisters Inside, One Woman Project, Flat Out Inc., Justice Reform Initiative, and Justice Action. And any ticket sales go to them.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, because, I'm putting on a little show, but these people are doing the hard work day in and day out, and they're amazing. So, yeah, even just for that, even just for helping them out, I think is a great reason to come.
Definitely.
But also, it's going to be heavy, but it's also going to be funny. So.
Definitely. And once again, for all of our listeners out there, The Passion of Pauline is on at the Melbourne Fringe Festival, October 2nd to 5th at the Motley Bauhaus, and then it moves to the Mission to Seafarers on October the 17th to 20th, and all of those ticket details are up on subcultureentertainment.com.